Hey everyone, we are still at Computex 2017 and now at the Be Quiet booth. There's a couple things to look at today, including the white edition of the Dark Base Pro 900, which we talked about at Computex last year. Then behind me there's a CLC that we'll be talking about. It's a 360mm rad. So we're going to go through that. And there's a new smaller-ish form factor air cooler as well. Before getting to that, this coverage is brought to you by Corsair and their new T1 Race gaming chair, which is a bucket-style gaming seat. And that chair costs $350. You can find a link in the description below for more information. The Dark Base Pro 900, it's the same thing we saw last year except white. That's the basis of it. However, I want to go through a few things we didn't get to go through last year because we had the chance to really dig into the noise a bit more in terms of noise output and emissions. Obviously, Be Quiet, given their name, cares quite a bit about noise. So part of what they've done, as we said last year, is add all the noise damping foam. That includes the front panel and the side panel on the back side, and this side's obviously just tempered glass, so no damping there. But the things to point out here that we didn't really know last year, those smaller dots in the foam paneling on the back side of the case and on the front side of the case help to break up the noise wave. So in speaking with some of the PMs here, basically the way it works is, as we've talked about in our previous content, you've got two different things you care about with noise testing. One is just the actual output, either in dBA or some other measurement. But that doesn't tell the whole story, just like frame rate doesn't tell the whole story when you're talking frame times. The other part of the story is the type of noise. So that's going to be frequency, and for that you would do something like a frequency spectrum analysis, which we don't normally do, but we've done in the past. So with that in mind, just testing straight noise with a foam case like this one doesn't necessarily tell you a whole lot if all you're looking at is dBA. What you can learn though is if it's damping the type of frequency you want to damp better. With a case like this, normally you're looking at something like a higher frequency damping because the paneling is going to be thinner than something that's not a case, something that's much larger where you have the room to use a thicker material. Thicker materials work better with the wavelengths that are produced for the lower frequency noises. In the event of these, they're trying to isolate the higher frequency noise that you get with something like coil whine or pump whine or high RPM fans like some of the GPUs we've tested lately. So that's kind of how it works at a top level. We're hoping to do some testing on this when it comes out. The availability on this one is looking like about September, somewhere in that range, August, September, US, and it will be a limited run. So the white edition, they're doing 2,000 models at first. There will be a plate up here with the number on it, and then after that, depending on demand, how quickly it sells out, things like that, Be Quiet might produce more. So let them know if you want more and you don't get the first round. Now, being limited edition, we were worried about price. Of course, you see InWin and what they price their things at. So 2,000 run, but it's going to be about $10 more than the black edition that exists now. So you're looking at something like $260, $10 increase. And other than that, it's all the same specs. It's just white, and they've done some color matching, so the white on the metal and on the plastic is actually pretty close. That's not something we normally see. And we'll have more information on this on the website as well. But moving on to the coolers, there's two to talk about here. This is the air cooler. This is the Shadow Rock TF2. And then there's also the closed loop, which is a 360mm radiator. Silent loop is the name of it. The supplier for this one is AlphaCool, so the pump is AlphaCool. It's not Asetek for once. That's not something we say a whole lot. Being that that is the case, this isn't something you're going to find in the US. I know a lot of you in our audience are not in the US. This will be available to you. It's a $160 unit. We're still hoping to test it. So if you like our testing, noise and thermals and otherwise, we'll have some benchmarks for you, but the US shouldn't expect to be able to buy it. So 360mm rad, there are 3 of the Pure Wings 2 fans on it, which are Be Quiet's fans that we've tested in the past. And then in terms of other core features, the radiator core is copper, and also if you look down the side, you can see the fins are also copper, so that's kind of interesting, and it's an AlphaCool thing to do. If you look at the rad, you can tell it's AlphaCool because of the way the tank, the liquid tank at the top, is split. That's a pretty easy identifier for how they make their radiators versus, or they supply the radiators anyway, versus other people. Other than that, some coil on here on the tubing, which is really just to prevent kinking, things like that. We don't know the material for the tubing. I've asked, so I'm not sure if it's more of the plastic line Teflon inner coating or if it's the rubber. It does, however, feel more like a rubber plastic, similar to, again, other AlphaCool units or Asetek units, things like that. So that's the cooler, $160. I think we're looking at a September launch for this one. And then the air cooler is immediately. This is a $60 unit, and It's kind of small form factor, but not quite. It's about 111, 112 millimeters tall, bottom to top. And on here's a 135 millimeter fan, so it's a bit bigger, which gives you hopefully some more controlled noise, particularly in the frequency department, more in the dBA department. So it will be it won't be as high frequency as some of the smaller fans. And really, that's there's not a whole lot to say about it, other than you've got 5 heat pipes. They are 6 mil pipes, copper, of course. Don't know if they're composite or sintered or what. And then that's pretty much it. You get some airflow under the bottom and some clearance, but that's the cooler. So that rounds out the stuff we're going to talk about in the video. There will be an article as well on the website, linked to the description below, that'll have some more information about the other stuff at the booth. There's some new power supplies, including an SFX form factor power supply, so check that out. And as always, if you like this coverage, subscribe for more. Go to patreon.com/gamersnexus to help us out directly. Thank you for watching. I'll see you all next time.